60.
Morning to you. It's 11 minutes after 8 o'clock. Mighty 1630 KCJJ.
Day before the election, and we have Ed Chabal here with us. He is running for state representative in District 46, which includes a good portion of Johnson County. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. So
give us a little background. What made you decide to run this year?
Actually, it is for the state senate, not state representative.
I'm sorry, state senate. I apologize.
I grew up in Washington County. I grew up on a farm between Kelowna and Washington, and I have recently retired from school finance. So I have served 27 years as the school finance officer at Mount Pleasant Community School District, and I know how important our schools are to everyone in Iowa. It's very important, especially for our rural towns, to have good schools, and I want to make sure that they're adequately funded and have all the services they need.
Speaking of which, it must have been a hell of a job for you the last couple of years with over the last several years anyway, with cuts in funding and trying to balance the budget and figure out where the money's going.
Yeah, and to be honest, that's exactly why I'm in this race. It's for public education. It's I've seen, like I said, I've been in it 27 years. I've seen what the last couple of years have done, and I just don't like the direction. And I think that we need to turn this around and make Iowa one of the leaders in public education again.
Well, we used to be, and now what we're hearing, we've just the Iowa City Community School District has lost $6.5 million with this private school, and the people that go to the private schools are complaining because the tuition shot up. So I don't see where anybody right now is winning with this. Yes,
exactly. And unfortunately, when you take that much money away from public schools, like next year it's supposed to be well over $300 million a year. When you take that away, then that just unfortunately makes some tough choices for our school boards in our local communities, and they have to decide between cutting staff or cutting programs.
Well, especially in the rural areas, because there's not as big a tax base, and we've seen, over the past decade, because of cuts in funding, et cetera, school districts having either consolidate or close altogether.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And like I said, it's just those tough decisions that our school boards, they're great people to serve and make our school strong, but when they have their hands tied by the state legislature, on the amount of funding they receive, it just leads to some tough choices for them.
And there's other movements. For instance, my wife was a counselor at schools for many years. She was trained, and she got a degree, she got a master's, and now they're talking about getting rid of counselors and having chaplains counsel the kids. I mean, I don't understand this movement and why this is a good thing.
Yes, I don't either. My office was right next door to a school counselor down in Mount Pleasant, and I know the work they do, how hard they work, and to be honest, we needed to have more counselors, but again, we didn't have the funding to do that, and they meet so many needs of our students that have some tough circumstances at home, and they're the bright spots for those students every day, and we need to make sure that we have those support positions in our schools to make them strong. So.
What other issues are you running? What other issues are you running on besides education?
The environment is important to me. We definitely need to figure out why we have water that is not clean in Iowa. It's tough to see our state parks that have no swimming signs posted for most of the summer, to see that happening. We need to find out why Iowa has the second highest cancer rate in the country. That's very important. We need to work together to solve these issues. Also, equal rights is very important for me. I strongly believe that medical decisions should be between a woman and her healthcare provider, and a politician should not be in between.
Especially RFK Jr.
Especially. Yeah.
So how long were you in the school in your career? How long were you doing that?
I was in 27 years.
27 years.
All at the same district. I did have a great opportunity to serve as on the board of directors and later as president of the Association of School Business Officials International. Mm-hmm. So it was actually it's mainly made up of school districts and representatives in the U.S. and Canada, but there are also some international providers. And as I served as president and on the board, I was able to visit 32 different states to see how their finance systems were run, how their conferences were run. And also, I was able to go to Cuba to find out how their system worked too. So
cool.
It was just some great leadership for me that, again, I think has been a big background that would help me out in this position. So.
Mm-hmm. So instead of retiring, you decided to go into politics.
Exactly. And again, I feel very passionate about schools, and I just can sit back on the sidelines. And
it's very noble for sure, and we definitely need more people like you to stand up for the kids and the education system in this state. It boggles the mind that starting next year, it doesn't matter how much money you make. Or where you live, you're eligible for a voucher to go to a private school, and they're really not at this point doing much to maintain the public school system.
Yeah, and I also want to bring up the AEA system, the reorganization last year.
Yeah,
because that was very big for me. That was, my son teaches special ed behavioral kids up in Cedar Rapids, and I know how important those services are. And again, I worked with the AEAs every day and know the services they provide. So.
Can you kind of explain that to people that really aren't aware? There is outrage over the way it was restructured, but what do the AEAs? What was the way it was set up before, and how is it set up now?
They were set up in 1974, so it was 50 years ago, and it was basically to provide a level playing field for small schools and large schools to provide the same services for all students. But the way it is, and some of the services they provide especially are the special education services for some of the kids in our districts. They also provide a lot of teacher professional development that we use constantly. And then they also provide printing services, media services, just so many services. And now, because of the reorganization, a lot of that has went to a fee-for-service system, whereas the school districts have the money, and instead of it going straight to the AEAs, and they can actually, choose whatever services they want. But unfortunately, there's not enough money there, and they can't offer those services to our staff or to the students.
You can tell something isn't quite right when stuff like this happens, and you think to yourself, well, I don't remember anybody being outraged by the way it was running before.
No. And what's very unfortunate is it was all run through in 1 year, in a couple of months.
Session, yeah.
And, to do their due diligence, they need to do some kind of a study in order for, informed decisions to be made, and they need to bring all stakeholders together.
Well, we looked at your Facebook page when we found out you were going to be advertising with us, and your profile picture is great because it's got little comments next to it, like your wife dressed you in this in the clothes and all this stuff. And if people want to know more about you ahead of tomorrow's election, where's the best place to go?
They can go to my website. It's Ed for Iowa, or Facebook page, Ed for Iowa. I also have an email, Ed with the number 4 Iowa at gmail.com. So
excellent. Well, good luck to you, and thanks for coming in this morning and kind of talking about where you stand on the issues. We appreciate that.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Iowa City's local radio station, Iowa City's 1630 KCJJ.